What's going on, everybody? This is Afro Think Tank. White man says white people have an epigenetic propensity for violence. And he said it's up to them to change it, right? And he says they have that epigenetic propensity for violence based off their past and their culture. And, you know, what he's saying is 100% true. And this guy, let me tell you, this I've been following this like, he gets to be called light skin. All right, I've been following this light-skinned brother, all right, for quite a while, and he is he's an example of a European American male recognizing the problem, right? Recognizing the root problem, right? And he doesn't allow guilt or shame to stop him from dealing with it. The problem we have is white men cannot accept that they are inherently violent because of their inherently violent culture, their inherent violent history. I mean, they're just, the answer to everything is inherently kill it, right? Which is a very, what you say, it's not a modern way of thinking. It's not an advanced way of thinking. It is a basic, it's not even subhuman, right? Because at one point in time, all of us human beings thought that the answer to everything was to kill it, right? Because in nature, that's pretty much, you know, the answer, just to kill it, right? So it seems like Europeans, who are the newest, they're the newest people on the block, right? Africans, we're the oldest, right? We've been around for millions of years. We've done it all, including, you know, killing being the answer to everything. We've done that, and we've been here long enough to move past that several times, you know, throughout our existence and population of this planet, right? Other groups haven't been here that long, therefore they haven't gone through all the stages, right? And Europeans, about 9,000, 8,000 years old, so it's like they're going through the basic first stages, right? Of, oh, the answer to everything is kill, right? The only problem is they're very good at it, right? Because they use technology along with their unevolved cultural practices, which is a terrible combination, because you mix technology with a barbaric, savage cultural behavior, and you get more death, right? And more problems. And if you can't handle, right, if we're at the point where there are people around the world telling white folks, hey, this is the problem. This is why this is happening. If you go to the root of why all of it is happening, because there's some white male who seeks to have an advantage, and they don't want to lose that advantage, and everywhere they see that they are losing their advantage, so therefore they are reacting to that because they are afraid of what's going to happen to them. Because in Europe, right, they're used to, you know, I pillage your village, you're probably gonna come and pillage my village, right? I win a couple battles on you, you know, I'm the king now, hoorah, right? You know, you lose the battle, you go, you know, wipe your nose, you go build another army, and you come back and you whoop my ass, right? So they're used to stealing and taking from each other. They don't have a culture at which you can have massive amount of people that have a cultural identity that values the community over the individual, right? For these Europeans, it's the individual, right, that has to look at the community as a possible enemy or danger or to be not trusted. Right, so that creates a very hostile culture in itself, where it's kill or be killed, dog eat dog, and they're coming from a place that they don't have a lot of resources, right? So they have to be like this in a place where there wasn't enough to share. They didn't live a life of abundance in Europe, right? And they still don't. Look, they're still fighting for the little bit of resources they do have amongst each other, right? And something Africans really didn't have to do that, because we didn't come from a place where we were lacking. We fought for various different reasons, you know, well, mostly, right? So it's important that European males, right, deal and talk to other European males and say, hey, we have a problem, right? We need to change certain aspects of our culture in order to be with humanity, in order to coexist with the rest of humanity, because the rest of humanity is not going to allow our culture to continue. You see, you're not going to, you had the advantages for a while because you strategically stole certain things that gave you an overwhelming dominant military advantage for a very short period of time. But other people are catching up, technology is catching up and negating some of those technologies created by the white man, right? It is becoming cheaper, and people have more access to the technologies, right, that can protect them from an overwhelming imperialistic force, right? The times are changing. So European males have to change with it. They no longer have the overwhelming dominant advantage. Everybody else is slowly catching up, even though the European has done everything they could, and are, including right now, doing everything they can in all their colonies and the countries they reside in, to continue to oppress and slow down the people they deem as their enemy, or people who they know, since they have hurt and disenfranchised, right, and genocided, they know that revenge is a human, emotion. And they feel like the same thing that they are currently and actively and knowingly doing to others, that those people are going to do it to them once they get to the point where they have a strategic military advantage over them. And that's why, the middle-aged, older white men are losing their goddamn mind, trying to scramble to save their societies and their cultures from the inevitable downfall that is here to come based off the policies that they have created, right? And so that's what's happening in the white world now. You have those who want to be a part of humanity and those who just want to dominate humanity. And it's going to take white males to address the issue with other white males so they can come up with a solution to the issue before everyone else comes up with a solution to the issue. Because the solution to the issue for those that are deemed not applicable to the human future and our human direction, our advancement in human evolution, those who are not applicable, who can't evolve, who can't adapt, they will go the way of the dodo bird, right? Those who don't see the era of their culture and change, because you can change your culture. There's aspects of every group, every race of people's cultures that should be eliminated, not practiced anymore, right? And so Europeans, just like everybody else, got to find out what aspects of our culture that we hold dear to us that we need to let go and sacrifice in order for our children and descendants to be safe and secure in the future and be able to get along with the rest of the world. Because the thing is, you white people, your forefathers didn't take in consideration that you guys were going to have to deal with the consequences of their actions, right? While slightly enjoying the fumes of their actions. You're right now we're enjoying the fumes. So as much impact as European white males have had, has been very short-lived, in compared to humanity, right? And it never got to where they thought. The imagination took over, and the West became a thing in their mind. Became this thing that it actually never became, because their racism, xenophobia, and their Christian indoctrination has caused them to have arrested development and won't allow, humanity's greatness to percolate, out of itself without being restrained, because we still have this savage, barbarian, capitalistic, dog-eat-dog, kill everything is the answer, money, 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 worship of money. We still have that mentality in the West that's infecting everybody's ability to live and survive and enjoy their lives. Anyway, you guys tell me what you think in the comment section. It's Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach something. I'm out.
Before I unpack this shit, let's establish some truth before I get into it. You, me, every single white person has an epigenetic predisposition for violence based on our ancestral past. Right? Like, we have to start here. We have to accept that. You can't have ancestors as white people that ate black people, that fed black children to alligators, that participated in public executions of black men, women, and children. You can't be a white person and have white ancestors that brought their children after church to watch black people be publicly executed and think that shit doesn't affect your bloodline, right? So like there's a severe amount of violence from our white ancestors that epigenetically and foundationally changed our DNA throughout the course of history. And so I see a lot of people struggle with, how are we here right now? How can things be this bad? Why don't more people care? Well, when you have an epigenetic predisposition for violence and you get somebody like Donald Trump and the Trump administration to help reinforce the violence that is flowing through your DNA, you end up standing 10 toes down in your violent white identity, right? And so I think a lot of white people that are, and this affects all of us. I'll get into the left side of the political spectrum in a minute. But I think there's a lot of white people that are blown away by their MAGA parents, friends, family, coworkers, or whatever. Because you're like, you should care. You should give a fuck. You should care about ICE. You should care about kids getting kidnapped from their parents. You should care about the Klan 2.0, ICE. You should care that the Trump administration wants a whites-only country. Like, the list goes on. You should care. You should care that the United States is bombing residential areas in Iran, right? The list is long, long, long. We have concentration camps. You should care. But that is trying to talk to somebody with the expectation that they have empathy or that they operate from a worldview of empathy. MAGA doesn't give a fuck. Their only operating system is violence. So anything that challenges their worldview, their perception, is automatically deemed a threat in their mind. Right? Because if I operate out of violence and I see every other community that isn't white or straight as a threat to my way of life, then I'm never going to operate in empathy. I'm only going to look at those communities as if they are dangerous to me. So that's how MAGA works, right? Just straight up violence. Again, the epigenetic predisposition for white ancestral violence is off the charts. And this is interesting, right? Because if you see white people that are MAGA, they're like, hey, I fucked up, I made a mistake. Yeah, Trump is wrong, administration is wrong, whatever. They're still a fucking bigot. You see it across the internet. You can see it in real life. You know, if you talk to somebody that walks away from MAGA, they still have the same bigoted, violent views. And they can only hold it for like 2 seconds before they just throw that shit out there again for everybody to see. And the more the pressure grows inside the United States, the more they double, triple, quadruple down on the shit. It doesn't matter. It's illogical. It's not intellectual. It's not moral and ethical. Like, you cannot have a conversation with MAGA that involves things that we would usually interact with, like in humanity, about, you know, morals, ethics, again, logic, intellect, because that is not where they operate from as a human being. Because if they had to accept openly or internally that, you know what, these concentration camps really probably are not that good, that will blow the fucking doors off their identity. They will no longer be able to function in society. Their mental health will go to fucking trash. If you start unraveling the sweater, so to speak, if there's one sliver of humanity that creeps in and says, hey, the shit that's happening right now is fucked up, then they have to accept that for the past 10 goddamn fucking years that they supported this shit, and the amount of violence they would be left to hold in their mind if they said, you know what, yeah, I fucked up. Why did I ever support Trump? I was engaging in white supremacy and racism. Then you have to take accountability, which white people don't do in general, hence why we're here. They would have to take accountability for the amount of fucking blood that they have on their hands, and they will never fucking do that. Which is just like our white ancestors. Which is just like your grandma or your grandpa that participated in segregation. And on the flip side, you have white people on the left that are frozen, that don't know what to do, that are watching all this shit, say, this is really fucking bad, but that's about all we got. That also plays into our epigenetic predisposition for violence. Because if you look at segregation, Jim Crow, you keep going in the past, you don't have to because it's all right here, right now. But if you look at our white ancestors, of course, there were going to be white people that were like, hey, I didn't participate in publicly executing black men, women, and children, so I'm a good guy. Or I didn't participate in chattel slavery. I didn't participate in indigenous genocide. I said, no. So that means I'm a good person. No, because we stood there, our white ancestors stood there and watched all of this shit happen, turned a blind eye, never stepped in to fucking stop this from happening, went along their lives engaging in the privilege that they got from the violence that played out that they believed they weren't participating in, and carried on with that 400-year head start, which again is just also engaging in violence. So you have the entire political spectrum of white people with an epigenetic predisposition for violence that are watching violence play out on a mass scale, white violence playing out on a mass scale. And you have MAGA, who does not operate within empathy, enjoying it, having like a sexual connection to the violence that sounds crazy, but that's a whole other discussion. But having this lust, this bloodlust, watching all this violence play out, and then you have the left who's like, I'm just sitting here watching it. I don't want to get too involved. I don't want to lose too much, which again is our ancestral violence as well. So all in all, we're here because of white people as a collective. And again, MAGA is rooted in the epigenetic predisposition for violence, that this is the white violence we are seeing is giving them fucking life every single day. And the minute you try to touch that life source, they're going to tap into that homicidal, fucking violent, torturous, ancestral DNA and become feral and go after fucking everybody. And tell you they're a Christian and a good person.
Every accusation is a confession. I will not elaborate.
Yep, time to go. That motherfucker coming over here. Ooh, shit. Hey, Carlo, bitch, look behind you. Ooh, shit, motherfucker.
Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! We most definitely cannot forget about the people of Sudan!
Thanks for watching Afro Think Tank. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And follow me on Substack and Patreon for more content. Remember, it's Pan-Africanism or nothing.